I talked about a post that Donald Trump made in which he decreed that American citizens were no longer allowed to wear masks at a protest. Now, obviously, we all know that the President of the United States can't just decree that on social media and then poof, that becomes a national law. We have freedom. We have freedom to assemble. We have freedom to assemble right there in the Constitution. And nowhere does it say that you can or cannot be masked. This is dictator level stuff. And so I did a video saying how he literally thinks he's a king. The reason why you're seeing a protest coming up here in the next couple of days called the No Kings protest is because he's acting like a king. He's acting like he can just snatch anybody off the streets and ship them away without due process. He's acting like a king in that he believes he can just militarize any city he wants to and just occupy American citizens' neighborhoods. He's acting like a king when he says that what you are and are not allowed to wear to protest. So I do this video breaking this down, and this is this person's response. Why do you side with illegals? Why did you completely sidestep the point of the conversation? That Donald Trump is acting like... Would you be okay if Joe Biden said, you're no longer allowed to wear a mask at a protest? Would you be okay with that? Would you be okay if Joe Biden said, you're no longer allowed to wear, pick a garment, pick a thing, pick anything at a protest? No, you wouldn't be. You would call that a dictator. You would say he's acting like a king. When I point that out, you change the subject to illegals. Why? Can you not talk about the subject at hand? And as far as siding with illegals, yeah, I side with people. I will side with people over government most times. And I look at, as somebody that had the opportunity to work with a shit ton of undocumented immigrants during my 26-year career in landscaping, where it was predominantly Hispanic workers, and most of them were predominantly undocumented. As somebody who comes from that experience and that background, I have absolutely no problem with somebody crossing our border illegally to come into this country to find work, which is what a vast majority of these folks are doing. These people are not putting themselves in harm's way because they want to commit crime in a different country. Most of these people are coming here because they're just looking for work. They're looking to escape violence in their home countries, and they're looking to put a roof over their head. And I know from my perspective that if the roles were reversed, and if the United States of America was somewhere where there was unabashed violence and no work to be had, there isn't an imaginary border on the ground that has been drawn that I won't illegally cross in order to go put food on my family's table. And what we see going on with ICE is what? Do we see ICE in gang neighborhoods? No. Do we see them in the worst parts of LA, Chicago, Detroit, New York? No. They're going to workplaces. They're going to job sites. They're going to warehouses. They're going to meat packing plants. They're going to farms. They're going and getting them while they're working. Or they're going to the kids' schools and trying to get the kids out of the schools. Or they're going to foster homes and taking the foster kids away from the foster parents. They're not going in. ICE isn't on the fucking south side in Chicago, right? ICE isn't in the barrio, so to speak. No, they're going to workplaces. And I got no problem with those people that are there working, because I've seen firsthand how people in this country don't want to do those jobs. People in America, they didn't want to do the landscape jobs we gave. Well, that's because you were paying shit wages. No, we were paying top wages, and you were part of a union, and you got health insurance, and paid vacation, and all 401ks, and that whole fucking 9 yards. So don't give me that bullshit. I'm from this background. I got no problem with undocumenteds coming into this country and working. And if the Trump administration is going to send ICE around to all the major cities like some form of fucked up New Age Gestapo, going into all of these various places of employment and rounding up people that are working hard, yeah, I'm going to stand with the undocumented. I'll stand with the undocumented over the Gestapo tactics any day of the week. Now, do you care to comment on Trump's king-like tactics, or is that just too harsh of a subject for you to touch on?